Hey Siri, show me a movie I never fucking want to watch again.
Did I tell you
I'd
the story?
rather sit through funny games.
Did I tell you how I saw this?
No, this movie is better than Funny Games.
It is.
It's a very good movie that I
is.
never ever want to see again.
Yeah.
Yeah, I probably won't see it again, but I mean,
It starts out like as a mystery. You don't know why she's being picked on. At the end, you
I had a feeling it was.
You get your heart ripped out at the end, man. It's astoundingly effective in filmmaking.
I do like the ending.
Yeah.
Just walk into the light.
Yeah, pretty much.
Gee, why'd you do it? I thought I knew once. Great.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I
There
like that fact that they don't like glamorize this asshole.
are easier ways.
Ooh, I don't know about that. I kind of feel like this whole movie glamorizes that asshole.
Okay. Elaborate, John.
Yeah, elaborate.
I don't know. I just feel like it maybe just fetishizes the whole thing a little too much.
Probably because it was a female
There
British
are easier
director.
ways to kill a bunch of people than a bow and arrow.
That's not what I got out of it.
I liked that.
He was too young to buy a gun. Right.
Sure.
No, I thought it was,
But it is
statement about
unusual. There's a
gun
bow and
control.
arrow massacre. It wasn't a gun massacre.
I actually had to turn it off when he was given the first bow and arrow as a gift.
Yeah.
And he was out in the yard with it. That's when I stressed out and had to turn it off and take a break. Because
you knew it was
not because of anything that was happening on screen, but just because everything I'd seen up to that point, that was a terrible decision.
Yeah.
This movie
and
is terrible.
Well, yeah,
Yes,
but
this
the
movie's
father
really terrible.
makes
starting with the
having a
decision to have
child was
children.
probably
The
worst
father
decision he ever made.
makes a series of bad decisions.
Yeah, the father does. He's like,
Yeah.
But at the
someone
very
who-
end, I think he believed his wife and what she was saying.
Yeah, but that,
When he was
yeah.
laying on the lawn with
Laying
the
on
two
the lawn
arrows
with
sticking
the
out.
arrow
Of
through his heart. Sure.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler.
I guess Tilda Swinton. Did
She's
she
a
do anything
treasure.
to deserve this other than have children in the first place?
well, she brought something into this film just by being her. You know what I mean?
No,
That
I
kind of
guess.
a-
I'm just
She has a
saying-
naturally haunted look. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Well, she's British.
Yeah, exactly.
As a mother, the movie seems to be fairly unspecific about whether or not she personally did anything. And this is just literally the kid came out a little wrong.
Yeah.
The kid was
Yeah, because you see the daughter.
the baby's crying, like screaming. She's standing next to the jackhammer. It's like it's wrong from the beginning.
I guess.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't think she caused it though.
she didn't cause it.
Doesn't pick up on a couple of things that maybe would have made a difference in the long run, but I also don't think she's the villain here for sure.
I don't think so.
I
I
think I
think
made
the
it.
father's the villain.
Yeah,
I made a distinction
anybody
early on.
is.
We're talking about this before. This film is not what it seems. It's a story about this messed up family with a kid's a serial killer, basically, but it's actually a story about the philosophy of mind. Now, when people come along in life, do you believe that human beings are intrinsically good and they can be nurtured and influenced to be good people, or there's some people are born
Nature and
who are just psychopaths, unbalanced psychopaths who will fixate on someone and hate them so much for reasons we can't understand.
It all goes back to bad potty training.
Yeah, well, no, the thing is, I think she's completely blameless. This story says that there's some people who are no fucking good. That's what it says.
That's what
That's
that
not
story's
okay.
saying.
Hold on, wait.
I would
that-
amend that to be humans are evil.
I have to
I disagree.
disagree with you. I have to disagree with you on that.
Mhm.
I don't think this movie says that some people are no fucking good. I
Mhm.
think it says that some kids are broken. In fact,
Okay,
the
what
end
on
of the
earth-
in fact
no. So I'm gonna stop. What on earth broke this kid? Come on.
he came
He
out
had
broken.
He had every advantage.
Had a
So
clip-
what's the difference between no good and broken? I think
Yeah,
we're
he had a loving
semantically.
family, it was a
Because
fun-
he's changing. Would you fucking listen to me for a second? God
Okay,
damn it.
take
He's
it.
changing. Like the reason that at the end of it, he says, I don't know why I did this. I don't remember why I did this is the same reason that you can't diagnose psychopathy in somebody who's under 18. He's not a psychopath. He's not a sociopath. Something went wrong in his brain and it's changing as he ages. The years that he's spent in prison have changed him. That's why he's a different person in those last conversations. That's why she hugs him. That's why she's going to take him back when he gets out of jail in a couple of years, because she's realized it too. He's not the same person he was when he walked into that place and shot those people. Like, he's
how do you draw that conclusion, Ted? I think you're projecting a lot onto those few scenes of him in the visitation.
Yeah.
But chewing his
Picking
fucking
his
fingernails and putting them on the-
Fingernails and staring off into space. I
But
mean,
but I'm talking about the very end of it. At the very end, the last conversation that they have there.
Why'd you do it?
right.
He
You talk about him
is-
going to prison because he's going to be 18.
Right. And you
Right.
can see in his face that he's different. Like, his concept.
I don't know that I.
Because he
I-
realizes he's fucked up.
No, but he's getting out. He's getting out in
the
3
same
years
way.
one way, or he's getting out in 3 years one way or the other. Like, that's what's going to happen. She realizes that she's going to take him back. Like,
Well,
I
But
think
what-
that you're definitely making you're jumping to some conclusions, or you're making some conclusions.
I don't think so. That's what I
Well,
saw.
you're
when I-
not-
That is what you inferred from what we saw on screen. She hugs him, and I just thought that was her unbelievable capacity for forgiveness. She loves her son, even
I thought she
though
was
No,
hugging
I
him
disagree,
goodbye.
John, this is her resignation. She realizes that at this point, fighting this kid her entire life.
I
yeah.
don't know.
Yeah,
Maybe it's
being
because it's the
victimized
second
by
time
this
I've
kid
seen
her
it.
entire life. She realizes at the end that this is just where life is going to be
All-
like
all
now.
he has left.
No husband, no kid, no daughter, just her and the psycho guy she has to like take back into her house. That's like a resignation to hopelessness. That's what I thought.
The first time I watched it, which was like 2012, I definitely thought that's what it was. But this time watching it, it definitely seems much more like the character has changed over the time that he's been in prison. And that's just, and in my opinion, that's just that you grow out of this sometimes. Kids are like this.
I think you're prescribing a kind of salvation for the character in the last 5 minutes of the film.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, and that's the
And
thing.
based on
That's
what I've read of the novel, that's what the novel does too.
I'm not bringing anything outside in. I'm talking about the movie. But
Well, I'm talking about both.
yeah, the thing is that it's 87 wrongs can't be righted by one right at the end. It's just, there's no way. It's imbalanced, which is why I'm going back to the idea about this is that the philosophy of mind of this film is there are some people who are hopeless. There are some people who are psychopaths, and you never know when you're going to end up with one. You know what I mean? I've had plenty of.
So you're pro capital punishment?
Oh well, I'm not going to jump into conclusions on that one, but
Okay, but
also the only
there's
reason
some
at the
people
end,
who are just
this is also a
You're just
supposition
fucked
at the end. I thought that the reason he was so flat at the end is because he's full of drugs.
Hmm.
You know, what
But
I
he
mean?
was
that
full
when-
of drugs.
He
that
was
was
full of
that was
drugs.
that was
He
I'm
got Prozac
supposing
for
he
the
didn't show
murders.
the bottles of drugs, but
Yeah, he was on Prozac when he committed the murders.
Was he really?
You're just
Yeah, he said it. He
floating
said it in the
down.
final scene. She said it actually. Tilda Swinton's character says, you'll be fine because you were jacked up on Prozac and
Right.
whatever
Didn't
the
help,
other
did
thing
it?
was. a couple of other mitigating circumstances.
Okay, well, here's another question. This is kind of a filmic question.
Hmm.
At the beginning of the film, they show her at that weird tomato throwing festival, and was it Barcelona or
Yeah,
something
what
like that?
was that?
Yeah,
I forgot what it's called, but it's like a big thing in the springtime
Yeah,
in
it's
in
Spain.
Spain.
the throw the tomatoes thing.
Yeah. What do you think that was trying to tell us?
Well, she wrote a travel book. She was worldly.
Uh-huh.
She enjoyed her life.
uh-huh.
She was a sensualist.
And she
Um,
sort of identified it with the egging of her house there. I mean,
Yeah.
somebody threw
Because
shit
red,
on
there's
her.
a red. has
red
lots
red
of-
is a recurring theme, and they
Yeah,
had
yeah.
her basically descending into a bloody mess,
Yeah.
in that scene.
Oh, there's a weirdly bloodless film, which is kind of like I appreciate. That's one thing it gave us.
I was very surprised because the
Uh-huh.
anticipation of what I was going to see was never.
No, it's more of a
Right,
psychological.
the
Matt,
worst
I
you
wouldn't-
had was pus from the
Uh-huh.
girl's eye.
You don't see any of the terrible things that happen. They're all implied.
Well, you do see the daughter and the husband shot full of
Yes,
arrows.
that's the worst thing. You see their bodies on the lawn with the arrows, and you see the kids
Right,
and the
and they're
stretchers
like
with the
still
arrows.
lives at that
Yeah,
point.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But it was quite restrained in that regard. And
Yeah.
I did want to say, I think the filmmaking's tremendous, especially like the first
oh,
third of the film where it's really intercutting past, present, future.
I thought they handled, yes, the flow of time.
That's the
editing
second
is
time. Yeah, second time out. seeing
superb.
this, I was able to really
Superb.
appreciate how this film was put together, and it's
Yeah.
put together so nice
The way it's
in terms
structured.
of like trying to slowly reveal a mystery.
Yeah.
It was the fast forward, flashback thing works so well.
And I remembered when she got home, and the whole time we had been saying, "Where's the dad? Where's the daughter?" She showed up at the high school alone when the call came in. Where are they? She walked into the house, and we saw the curtains, which we'd seen in the opening shot, and then the dread.
Yes.
The dread of,
Very well done.
of repeating that shot was,
The
chef's kiss.
directing is great. The acting is great. It's just
It's horrible. It's an awful experience.
It's an awful fucking experience watching.
What's the
this
term I'm looking for here? It's kind of it's morally challenging.
I don't know that
It's emotionally challenging.
No, it's emotionally challenging.
No, I took it at a deeper level. I thought that this is one is telling us that the universe is chaos. That's what I got out of this.
Well,
His character certainly is,
Yeah.
stating
That you're going to end up with a kid who's a psycho, and there's nothing you can do about it. And this is how the universe deals the cards.
Well, she broke his arm. She could have just broken it.
There were times where maybe
That's an interesting approach to potty training.
Yeah.
Maybe made it work. The relationship.
Have you ever had to clean up anybody's shit, John?
Hey, man, it worked. If you believe in results,
Yeah, it did work. That's because it was pure behavioralism.
that's actually one of the best scenes is when they hear the toilet flush upstairs.
Yeah.
And he's like, "How did you do that?"
I just broke his arm.
I broke his fucking arm. That's great.
That seemed to have worked.
She I don't think she's the villain, but there are definitely, the movie seems to imply through a couple of scenes that she, through action or inaction, made the relationship between her and her son worse.
She violated the first law of robotics.
Well,
He's not a robot.
fucking
He's a sociopath.
she's frustrated. She's a human being, whatever.
Oh man, I would have killed him so many times. The fact that she just broke his arm the one time she got lost in temper.
Time, yeah.
Oh my! I would have drowned that kid when he was little.
But the thing is that worked. The thing is, like, he was like, he responded to her sadism with, like, okay, I respect you as a fellow sadist.
Yep, that spoke the language he understood.
And there was that great scene, that kid they got to play the younger version of him. Oh my God, he was amazing.
He's a spitting image. It's
I know,
incredible.
but he's
This
sitting there
kid-
talking to her and breaking the crayons one at a time, and they're talking.
Yeah.
That was a good
Jesus.
scene.
I wanted to
actually
fucking
found
punch him.
this kid's performance better than the older one.
Yeah.
Yeah, almost. Yeah.
Yes.
Well,
The older
Ezra
one
Miller
was
is such
all,
an
like,
interesting
lower
character.
brow.
Well, that's
and-
because being younger, he's just more evil.
Yeah.
It's
But Ezra is
scarier.
he's so pretty. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Damien from The Omen.
Well, he looks like her.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
He looks a lot like her. It's
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
freaky.
Like, I think they cast him specifically to look as much like her as possible.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
it
Possible,
is
yeah.
supposed
Well,
to be. It is supposed to be her
In fact,
looking in a
his
mirror.
last name is hers. He doesn't have his father's last name.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
Cacciaturian.
Oh, I didn't notice that. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
The only casting choice I think I questioned a little bit was Riley.
I thought he was good.
I think he's good. I couldn't separate, and this is not necessarily, it's all on me. Like, I'm so used to him being that
comedies.
guy and
You're
everything.
expecting a good time.
Right. And so
He's expecting Fix It Ralph. Or
I
whatever.
think
Wreck
he's.
It Ralph,
I think he's terrific in serious roles. I mean, he's not really particularly funny in Anniversary Party too. He's got like one of the most serious scenes.
I liked him a lot in that. That was
And I was asking Tad about this before the thing
my name.
started. That
Yeah,
like
he's
there are other movies he's been serious in.
he
Yeah.
started out as a very serious actor. Like, he's in fucking Boogie Nights.
And
Like,
he's
oh, yeah.
in
Yeah.
Heart 8, right? Is he in Heart 8? I can't remember.
No, yeah, he was good in that.
he's in The Thin Red Line. I know that.
Yeah, it's true. He's in that.
But also it kind of reverses again. Maybe they cast him because you think he's, again, a good time, and he's always going to be the nice dad who always lets it off the hook. And
right.
In,
And,
in 2011, he wasn't
Yeah.
really known. He wasn't really known for that.
no, not
yet.
really. No, it was before Walk Hard, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
so, I mean, I kind of, who saw the thing she made after this called You Were Never Really Here with Joaquin?
I don't think I saw it.
Didn't see it.
And how was that, Tad?
Hard to watch.
Oh, good. All right. Well,
Worse than this?
No.
In
Well,
a
I
different
mean,
way.
There's her earlier, like the stuff she made with oh God, who's the guy who made the movie Blue and stuff?
Kozlowski.
Blue,
No,
red, white.
no, not that one. The guy who had AIDS and finally went.
Oh,
blind.
Jarman. Derek Jarman.
Jarman, yeah. She made a movie with him, and she was in Orlando.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
She's great in that.
Yeah, I've almost
Yeah.
picked that a couple of times.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
I'd like to see that again.
She's definitely a good actor.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh wait, does she also act? I didn't realize this.
Also, did they
Lady,
tell you what?
Lynne Ramsay also acts?
No, we're talking about
Tilda Swinton.
Oh,
Tilda
God, no.
Tilda Swinton.
I like her in anything. No,
Yeah.
I'm more. I'm talking about the Lynne
I
Ramsay.
don't
Lynne
know
Ramsay?
anything about Lynne Ramsay.
She
Lynne
made
Ramsay.
another very well regarded movie called Ratcatcher, which I haven't seen.
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
So it's kind of
I think she's
middle
Scottish,
track
right?
kind of thing.
I
Yeah.
think she is Scottish.
Yeah.
Well, let's scoop her into a Marvel movie eventually, so don't worry, she'll be fine.
I don't know.
Right. They'll just
Uh,
fuck her
but,
over. And
But you know, did I ever tell you how I saw this film?
No.
Okay, we were watching a Giants game. This is back in 2012 or thereabouts, and Matt Cain was on the mound, and so we're watching the game. It gets dull because he just keeps striking people out. It says, "I'm just show it this Eileen."
I was bored.
She was bored.
Let's
Says,
watch a movie, I said.
yeah, and so we put on Let's Talk About Kevin, and then
Oh,
112
During a
traumatizing
baseball
minutes
game, you
later,
put
it was
that?
over, and we're all like standing with pinwheels for eyes, like what the fuck just
The movie
happened?
stops and it comes to just after the last pitch.
Just-
And it's a perfect game.
Yeah, we missed Matt Cain's perfect game for this movie.
That's why I hate this movie. That's
oh, that's why.
that's why.
Mm.
But John C. Reilly was in Chicago.
I know he was great in that.
Thought he was in
So-
Chicago.
Mhm.
That was before 2012.
I don't remember what year it was, but I think it might have been
Anyway,
Well,
When
two.
was Chicago
Two.
released?
Chicago, the musical.
Yeah, that's
Chicago the musical
the
is-
movie I'm talking
Yeah,
about.
Mr. Cellophane. Yeah,
I don't want to talk about Kevin ever again.
Ever again.
I think that's a
don't
consensus
wanna talk
around
about
here,
it.
actually. Yeah.
yeah.
All right.
All right, so-
like with Requiem for a Dream, and then like wow, great.
The
movie.
Nightingale.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Nightingale.
No.
That was a good double bill with Betty Blue, though.
All right, Scott. So
I thank you.
seriously, after I complained about for the last 2 weeks about Nazis and Korean serial killers, are you doubling down?
Not
You-
doubling
you-
down.
You're
This
trying
I
to make
thought-
me. You're trying to make me uncomfortable.
No, I'm not. I'm not just not singling you out, John. I'm
I
really
worry
not.
about you,
This
what?
was. I thought half the
I know.
film was. I was intrigued by the philosophy of mind argument that there are people who are just no good. That this is a story about someone no good. And second of all, I knew that it was fairly bloodless, so you wouldn't mind it that much.
Actually,
you got
it stressed me the fuck
it's
out.
stressed us all the fuck out. This film is very stressful.
It's a-
John, I want you to know that I changed my picks this week because of this movie.
See, there it is. This film fucks with you for days after seeing it. When did you
Wow.
see it? When did you see it?
whenever I was texting you guys that night, it's like
Okay.
it's
I just
profoundly
finished it.
disturbing.
Oh, you just finished it.
I
So
just-
so it's gonna
after
haunt you for
after
days
after a nap when he
Oh.
got the arrow bow and arrow, I turned it off and I had a little cry and I took a nap and then I went out and worked in the yard and then I came back and I was like, it's only a movie, and I watched the rest of it. Now it's
right. And the thing is, also you have to acknowledge the artistry of the film. I mean,
I do,
Without question.
and I've
Yeah.
always wanted to see it. So
This
it
is
wasn't.
every time there's a shot like this in the movie, I was just eating it up. It
Yeah,
was
same
just
here,
like,
same here.
and
This
that's
is
and I just had
gorgeous,
the I just
gorgeous.
had the one of her putting the garland on the ceiling fan in the
Oh,
travel
yeah.
agency.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
all of that stuff to me was just, and that was a great thing about watching it a second time is I knew it was coming, so I was able to pay more attention to the craft of the filmmaking.
Yeah,
the craft of
It was so
filmmaking is
strange because
spectacular.
it's a nothing and nowhere location wherever they were
Yeah,
shot this.
yeah,
thing.
yeah, it doesn't matter.
it
but the
feels
thing
as Florida as you could possibly feel.
Yeah,
It
and the
feels
thing
like
is,
Central
it
Florida
was so
top to bottom.
beautifully
Except
realized
it was
every
shot in Stamford, Connecticut.
There you
Oh,
go.
really?
Which
But every
feels
scene
like
was-
Florida.
Yeah, it does.
It does.
It
I
does.
was
It does.
amazed when I found out about this because it's like a Tony suburb of New York
If
City.
you're on, so it literally I-95 goes through the middle of Stamford, Connecticut. If you are on the west side of Stamford, it is like this. If you are on the east side of Stamford, it's like Greenwich. Like it's amazing how it's just split. There's a mall there, and everything on one side of the mall was built in the 60s. Like it's crazy.
I believe it.
It's
does.
also
It is
where,
absolutely-
the swimmer took place, right?
Mm.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Although that's
yeah,
more
I
out.
was thinking-
That's on the east side, more up in the hills.
Yeah, but near the Hudson Valley, I think that's somewhere around there.
And
right?
it's like
Hudson's,
a British production, right? It's like there's all these British credits.
It's British, and they shot for like 3 weeks in Stamford, Connecticut.
21 producers on this.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
this is
Wow.
that's
But did
really
you
a
notice?
record.
I
yes.
wanted to mention one of the producers, Luke Roeg, Nick Roeg's son,
Oh wow, I saw the
who's
name. I
also
didn't
in
recognize it.
Walkabout. He's the boy in Walkabout.
Oh
With
shit!
Jenny
there's
Agutter.
there's a connection.
I didn't know
for
that.
you.
Tilda Swinton was signed on as a producer for this, not as an actor. And then when they were having such a hard time making it, she signed on as an actor so they could get more funding.
More funding, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
She knew what
Okay.
she.
So questions and quibbles.
All right.
All right, Mr. Pedantics here. Is it really that hard to get red paint off your house with a sander? You know,
Depends
come
on the paint. Depends on how long it's been there.
Depends what the
Depends on
paint
what it's
was,
sticking
yeah.
to.
You like
And then her
if it's a-
hand-
if it's a nail on it,
Repeated shots of her trying to get the paint off her. I get the metaphor. I felt it was a little overdone.
it was actually at the third or fourth time. It's like we get it. All right, we're
Yeah,
good.
we
Yeah.
get it.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a few places where I felt like it went over the top. Another thing is like, why did everybody at the terrible travel agency where she got the job afterwards?
Who the fuck uses a travel agency?
I
Even
know,
in
it's like that's
2011.
That's an
They're on their way
anachronism.
out 10 years ago. with this
Even in
stuff.
2011, that was an anachronism.
Yeah.
Travel agencies entirely exist now for people who
Old
are,
people?
or no, who are current who are immigrants. It's so you can travel back to your home country and stuff like that because they deal with all the
Yeah, 'cause
visa.
I actually
deal with all the
did one
visas
when we
and
went
stuff like
to-
that.
They allow package travel. That's what all
Just-
the
yeah.
cities is.
Yeah.
The
Well, and
fact
they
that-
do know the cheapest.
Yeah.
So the way that her coworker who eyed her and it was like, okay, is he being nice to her or is he just want to have sex with her? And then we found out at the end that he was actually another terrible person
Yeah.
when he says that awful thing to her at the Christmas party. I felt like, okay, here's the movie being an indie just sort of to maintain tone. It's like everyone's going to be terrible in this movie. Everyone's going to stare at her with glassy eyes.
Yep.
Everyone knows what she did. You know, and
When
it was
they
like
slap her, that first woman who
That
was
slapped her,
brutal.
saying, yeah,
Sympathetic
fucking
character.
brutal.
how
there's
are
a
you
point-
doing? Are you?
I was
happy?
hoping he'd turn out to be a nice guy, just so we'd get one variation
No,
in
John,
tone.
I'm gonna back up on it because the second
Zero.
time I noticed that nothing good ever happens to her in this entire movie.
No.
And-
Things happen. That are
Well,
good.
and because
some
it's told
flashbacks,
from
some
her
good things
POV,
happen.
right?
But in the
And there's two
current-
people who are nice to her in the course of the movie. One is right after she gets punched, that guy comes
A
up and tries to,
paraplegic.
well, no, that hold on.
Oh yeah.
The guy comes up to her and tries to be like, what happened? Like, should we call the cops? Like, blah, blah, blah. And she just walks away from him.
No, she says I deserved it. I
Right,
started
and-
it.
pretty
Right,
much.
and then she walks away from him. And then the other is the kid rolls up in the wheelchair.
Yeah.
So even when the kid is nice to her, it's still a reminder of what happened
It's traumatic for her. Yeah.
Yeah,
because he's in the wheelchair because of her son.
right.
Like,
right. So there's that. And then the general question I have is that once we found out that not only did all these kids at the high school die, but her husband and her daughter died.
Right.
Would people really treat her that way?
yes.
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 Have you never? Where have you lived?
Have you met people? They're awful.
Have you met people?
I'm sorry.
Well, but also, I mean, on a purely psychological level, when something like this happens, you have to blame someone.
Yeah.
And like you're gonna blame the person who is the closest to you. They're not. I mean, this kid is removed. He's living in a prison
Yeah.
somewhere, like
Mhm.
that, out of sight, out of mind. She still lives in this community,
right.
partially because she
Because
lost.
he's in the prison, right?
Well,
He's
and
in the
partially
local
because she
prison.
lost a lawsuit, so all of her money's
Right.
gone.
Yeah.
Is
She
that
could-
where her money went? I was trying to figure that out. Why
It's
was she
in the
living with
book,
such a
right?
shitty
That
place?
she sells the house
Well, but in the movie,
to like
what-
pay
in
for
one
the
of the
lawyers.
in the movie, they're coming out of the courthouse, and there's ancillary dialogue of like, this is gonna, they're coming after you for X millions of dollars and stuff like that. And it's
Right,
like,
because it was a civil suit.
Actually,
Right.
it's all there visually. They lived in this beautiful house in the beginning of the film, and at the end, she ended up like a crappy little place, a little shack downtown.
Crappy little cottage.
Yeah.
Yeah, like we all live in.
and driving the same car from earlier.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I
So
will give this movie also extra credit for, I mean, this is a very American story.
oh yeah.
You think about
Except
all the
this
parents-
movie was delayed because of that guy in Norway who shot up the
that's the-
elementary
The
school.
theater or whatever.
What
Yeah.
with a bow and arrow?
Norvik.
I've wanted to pick, but I'm afraid to.
Mhm.
I'll
Yeah, no,
go
but I mean,
for it.
like think about how many Tilda Swintons there are, or
Yeah, right.
in this country.
Yeah.
I mean, I give this movie a lot of credit for telling this story because it would seem like a third rail to go anywhere near it, but this movie really
Yeah, because
committed.
Yeah.
again, since everybody's ambiguous as to whether she's to blame for the kid and for what he does, you never see it from the perpetrator's parents' point of view. Okay.
Mhm.
It's funny that I
Yeah.
just watched Run, Hide,
They didn't,
Fight.
make, they didn't make a movie about Travis Bickle's mom.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
But maybe they should.
Yeah. All right. Well,
It sounds like a good movie. We get Brian De Palma.
mhm.
But I mean, do you think the choice of a bow and arrow was to kind of remove it one step away from the school shooter syndrome?
think- It was
I
to make-
thought it was like a conservative anti-gun control thing.
I thought it was to make it a class thing.
Yeah.
A bow
It felt like it, huh?
is the weapon of a rich person,
Very much.
Yeah.
and especially that incredibly nice bow that
He got the
has.
nicest one. Yeah.
Well,
Right.
yeah, his
Also,
dad
it's
bought it for
arrogant.
him.
Thanks, Dad.
not to
Thanks,
help not
Dad.
think of Sandy Hook this entire time. It's like,
No, that's kind of
I
what
was amazed that
Scott.
Go ahead.
Yeah, no, yeah. Sandy Hook for sure.
Sandy Hook. It's like, imagine Sandy Hook if the mom and even the kid survived the
It
whole thing.
lived.
Yeah, and like they lived, and this is kind of what you get. Even
What did you have? What did you have, Jim?
I forgot.
The day after Sandy Hook in outside of Beijing, a guy broke into a school and just stabbed a whole bunch of kids.
Yeah.
He just ran in with a knife and just stabbed a whole bunch
That
of
knife
kids.
thing is really big out east in the Far East.
Well, it
It's-
happens it's happened
Oh,
in England a few
Korea.
times.
Yeah,
It's happened
England too,
in England
yes.
a few times too.
Uh-huh.
Because of gun control.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Anyway,
they have really good gun control. So, people use forks and knives and
Well-
kitchen implements,
Bricks and poison.
bricks and poison.
Well, I think we all agreed that it was a hell of a movie that we never want to see again, which is fine. So
I don't know.
Thanks for
I
making
think
me
I'd
watch
be
it again. I
like,
appreciate
somebody
that.
watch it sometime.
I watched it again. I saw
You
it.
watched it twice.
I saw it twice.
I'm
I saw it,
impressed.
and I realized that this is furled up in my head saying, I think you guys we might have a good conversation. And we had a very good conversation out of this film.
All right, I'm picking Requiem.
John brought some really
No,
I just want to
no.
and
I'm
Tad.
not
brought-
watching that again.
No.
I don't agree with you, Tad, but I your point of view I think is valid.
I want to
You
point
know-
out, by the way, that I'm wearing the same shirt he was wearing for a lot of the movie.
Oh
No!
God, you are! What the hell?
What?
Who sells those?
Why
Who did
and
you
how?
kill?
John, your nephew gave this to me for Christmas.
Wow.
What's on the shirt? Can we see the whole
It's
shirt?
it's 99 red balloons,
Oh.
It looks
which is
something-
one of my
something else,
favorite.
though.
It's one of my favorite, if not my favorite, songs of all time.
It's a great song.
Little David
and-
gave you that?
Yeah.
Oh my
And the
God.
first time I saw this movie, which was in like 2012, I was like, "Ah, son of a bitch."
There's my shirt.
Now, you realize this has just made the clip, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, right.
Okay.
It's coming.
Yeah.
There you go.
There you
Good.
All right, show of hands.
I'm gonna give it.
I don't have one.
It's one of these.
have one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Love it. Never
I think
want to
it's
see
a
it
good-
again.
I like
I
where
think
he
it's a
is.
good
It's like,
film.
okay. Love it. Never want to see it again. So,
Yeah.
there it is, right? Okay, good enough.